Radhe Radhe, Dandavat Pranam. Welcome to Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Mandir in Shri Vrindavan Dham. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai, Patit Pavan Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Prem Purushottam Shachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai, Radha Vinod Bihari Ju ki jai, Radha Ramana Ju ki jai, Giriraj Mahārāja ki jai, Harinama Sankirtan ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bo. Dandavat Pranam all Vaisnavas. It looks like Jiva Pavana Prabhu has already posted a Mangalacharan. So we will begin with Mangalacharan, page 1 of this book, Shri Gauriya Giti Guccha. I know it's a little beat up. Sudevi likes them like that. It means they're loved, they're used. So, yes, we will be beginning with Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha. In that particular prayer, first they're saying Vandeham, I'm offering my pranam, my obeisance, my prayers unto Shri Guru. And then after that, it says Shri Gurun. Shri Gurun means all gurus, means Shiksha gurus and all gurus in Guru Parampara. So, there's proof right there in that one line. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha. And then all Vaishnavas. So we will start with that and then continue. It's page 1 of this Gauriya Giti Guccha. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadhutam Arjana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitangscha Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnanunjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yeno Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Śrīmad Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Namine Shri Krishna Lila Katane Sudaksham Audarya Madhurya Gunaishcha Yuktam Varam Varenyam Purusham Mahantam Nārayanam Vāṅshirashan Namami Tridandinam Bhakta Shiromanim Cha Shri Krishna Padam Jagataika Vindhi Chaitanya Leelamrita Sarasaram Nārayanam Vāṅsatatam Prapadye Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedānta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavani Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Vishnupadaya Gaurapresthaya Bhutale Shri Śrīmad Bhakti Pragyano Keshavo Iti Namine Atimartya Charitraya Svashritanam Chapaline Jiva Dukhe Sadarataya Shri Nama Premadayine Namaho Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Shri Varshabhanavi Devi प्रलयिने प्रभवे नमः। माधुर्योज्ज्वलप्रेमाद्य श्रीरूपानुगभक्तिदा श्रीगौरकरुणाशक्ति विग्रहाय नमोऽस्तुते। नमस्ते गौरवाणि श्रीमूर्तये दीनतारिणे रूपानुगविरुधाप सिद्धान्तध्वन्तहारिणे। नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षाद्वैराग्यमूर्तये विप्रलम्भरसम्बोधे पदाम्बुजायते नमः। नमो भक्तिविनोदाय सच्चिदानन्दनामिने गौरशक्तिस्वरूपाय रूपानुगवरायते। गौराविर्भावभूमिस्थो निर्देष्टा सजनप्रिया वैष्णवः सर्वभौम श्रीजगन्नाथाय ते नमः। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदत्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकाकान्तो राधाकान्तो नमोऽस्तुते। तप्तकञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जयतां सुरतो मम मन्दमतिर्गति मत्सर्वस्वपदम्बोजो राधामदनमोहन। दिव्यवृन्दारण्यकल्पद्रुमद श्रीमद्रत्नागारसिंहासनस्थो श्री श्रीराधा श्रीरघुविन्ददेवं प्रेष्ठानिभिः सेव्यमानो स्मरामि। श्रीमन्द्रसरसारम्भे ततस्थितः कार्षन्वेणुस्वनैर्गोपी गोपीनाथ श्रीस्तुनः। वृन्दाय तुलसीदेव्यै प्रियायै केशवस्य च कृष्णभक्तिप्रदे देवी सत्यवत्यै नमो नमः। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम्। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृन्द। चेतो दर्पणमार्जनं भवमहादावग्निर्वापनं श्रेयकैरवचन्द्रिकावितरणं विद्यावधूजीवनम्। आनन्दं मुनिवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृतास्वादनं सर्वात्मस्नपनं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्णसङ्कीर्तनम्। हरेर्नाम हरेर्नाम हरेर्नामेव केवलं ततो नास्त्येव 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 गतिरन्यथा। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Dandava Pranama Vaisnavas. Sudevi, can you put the fan on low here? Yes. Page 35, Gurudev Kabe Tava Karuna Prakashe by Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur. Gurudev kabe tava karuna prakashe kabe tava karuna prakashe Shri Gauranga Lila Hoi Nitya Tattva Eshu Dridha Vishvase Shri Gauranga Lila Hoi Nitya Tattva Eshu Dridha Vishvase Hari Hari Boli Godruma Kanone Brahmi Bodarshano Yashe Hari Hari Boli Godruma Kanone Brahmi Bodarshano Yashe Gurudev Kabe Tava Karuna Prakashe Kabe Tava Karuna Prakashe Nitai Gaurango Advaita Shrivas Gadadhara Pancha Jana Nitai Gaurango Advaita Shrivas Gadadhara Pancha Jana Krishna Nama Rase Bhashave Jagata Puri Maha Sankirtana Krishna Nama Rase Bhashave Jagata Puri Maha Sankirtana Gurudev Kabe Tava Karuna Prakashe Kabe Tava Karuna Prakashe Onartana Vilas Mridanga Vadana Shunibo Yapana Kane Nartana Vilas Mridanga Vadana Shunibo Yapana Kane Dekhiya dekhiya Se lila madhuri Bhashibo premero bane Dekhiya dekhiya Se lila madhuri Bhashibo premero bane Kabe tava karuna prakashe Gurudev Kabe tava karuna সেলিলারতন কাদিহা গৌরাঙ্গ বলি না দেখি আবার সেলিলারতন কাদিহা গৌরাঙ্গ বলি আমার বিষয় পাগল বলিয়া আমার বিষয় পাগল বলিয়া অঙ্গেতে দিবে ধূলি অঙ্গেতে দিবে ধূলি গুরুদেব কবে কবে তব করুণা প্রকাশে কবে তব করুণা প্রকাশে গুরুদেব কবে তব করুণা প্রকাশে কবে তব করুণা প্রকাশে গুরুদেব গুরুদেব জয় গুরুদেব গুরুদেব জয় গুরুদেব গুরুদেব জয় গুরুদেব জয় প্রভুপাদ জয় প্রভুপাদ প্রভুপাদ জয় প্রভুপাদ জয় প্রভুপাদ জয় প্রভুপাদ জয় প্রভুপাদ জয় প্রভুপাদ গুরু পরম্পরা 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 श्रील गुरुदेव की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय रूपानुग गौरी गुरुवर्ग की जय श्री गुरु परंपरा की जय Now we will call out for the mercy and the grace of the Vaisnavas. Page 41, Hari Hari Kabe Mor Habe Henu Din. By Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur. Hari Hari কবে মোর হবে হেন দিন হরি হরি কবে মোর হবে হেন দিন হরি হরি কবে মোর হবে হেন দিন হরি হরি কবে মোর হবে হেন দিন বিমল বৈষ্ণবের অতি উপজীবে বাসনা হইবে কিন বিমল বৈষ্ণবের অতি উপজীবে বাসনা হইবে কিন হরি হরি ও কবে মোর হবে হেন দিন কবে মোর হবে হেন দিন অন্তরে বাহিরে সমব্যবহার অমানি মানো অন্তরে বাহিরে সমব্যবহার অম্মানি মানদ হব কৃষ্ণ সংকীর্তনে শ্রীকৃষ্ণ স্মরণে কৃষ্ণ সংকীর্তনে শ্রীকৃষ্ণ স্মরণে সতত মজিয়ারো সতত মজিয়ারো এ দেহের ক্রিয়া অভ্যাসে করিব জীবন যাপন লাগি এ দেহের ক্রিয়া অভ্যাসে করিব জীবন যাপন লাগি শ্রীকৃষ্ণ ভজনে অনুকূল যাহা শ্রীকৃষ্ণ ভজনে অনুকূল যাহা তাহে হব অনুরাগী তাহে হব অনুরাগী ভজনের যাহা প্রতিকূল তাহা দৃঢ় ভাবে ত্যাগিব ভজনের যাহা প্রতিকূল তাহা দৃঢ় ভাবে ত্যাগিব ভজিতে ভজিতে সময় আসিলে ভজিতে ভজিতে সময় আসিলে এ দেহ ছাড়িয়া দিব এ দেহ ছাড়িয়া দিব ভক্তি বিনোদ এই আশা করি বসিয়া গো দ্রুমবনে ভক্তি বিনোদ এই আশা করি বসিয়া গো দ্রুমবনে প্রভু কৃপা লাগি ব্যাকুল অন্তরে প্রভু কৃপা লাগি ব্যাকুল অন্তরে সদা কাঁদে সঙ্গোপনে সদা কাঁদে সঙ্গোপনে প্রভু কৃপা লাগি ব্যাকুল অন্তরে সদা কাঁদে সঙ্গোপনে সদা কাঁদে সঙ্গোপনে হরি হরি কবে মোর হবে হেন দিন কবে মোর হবে হেন দিন জয় বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর জয় বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর জয় বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর জয় বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর জয় বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর প্রভু কৃপা করো মোরে দয়া করো প্রভু কৃপা করো মোরে দয়া করো প্রভু কৃপা করো মোরে দয়া করো কৃপা করো মোরে দয়া করো। All Vaishnava Thakurus ki jai. Now we will call out to the grace and mercy of Śrīla Rupa Gosvāmī Pad. Really, the lotus feet of Śrī Rupa are our everything. Young Kali Rupa, page 47. This was a favorite of our Srila Gurudev's. It's also a favorite of mine and a favorite of so many Vaisnavas. By Sri Madhav Das. It's a beautiful glorification of Srila Rupa Goswami. I'm going to sing it in that other tune. Yang Kali Rupa Sharira Nadharata Yang Kali Rupa Sharira Nadharata Yang Kali Rupa Sharira Nadharata Yang Kali Rupa Sharira Braj Prema Mahanidhi Kārtika Tan Braj Prema Mahanidhi Kārtika Ona Kapata Ugharata Ona Kapata Ugharata Yang Kali Rupa Sharira Nadharata Yang Kali Rupa Sharira Nadharata Kira Kira Hangsana Pano Vidhayana Kira Kira Hangsana Pano Vidhayana Kona Pritaka Kari Payato Kona Pritaka Kari Payato O Sabbatyaji Bhaji Vrindavana O Sabbatyaji Bhaji Vrindavana O Sabgrantha Virachita O Sabgrantha Virachita Yang Kali Rupa Sharira Nadharata Yang Kali Rupa Sharira Nadharata Jaba Pituvana Phula Phalata Nana Vidha Jaba Pituvana Phula Phalata Nana Vidha Manoraji Arobindo Manoraji Arobindo Somadhukar Binu Panakona Janoto Somadhukar Binu Panakona Janoto Vidyamano Paribandha Vidyamano Paribandha Yang Kali Rupa Sharira Nadharata Yang Kali Rupa Sharira Nadharata Ko Janoto Mathura Vrindavana Ko Janoto Mathura Vrindavana Ko Janoto Brajanita Ko Janoto Brajanita Ko Janoto Radha Madhavarati Ko Janoto Radha Madhavarati Ko Janoto शरीर न धारत जाकर चरण प्रसादे सकल जन जाकर चरण प्रसादे सकल जन गाई गावाए सुख पावतो गाई गावाए सुख पावतो चरण कमले शरणागत माधो चरण कमले शरणागत माधो तव महिमा उरलागतो तव महिमा उरलागतो यं कलिरूप शरीर न धारत 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 तन् ब्रज प्रेम महानिधि पुतरिका तन् ब्रज प्रेम महानिधि पुतरिका कौन कपात युघारतो कौन कपात युघारतो यं कलिरूप शरीर न धारत यं कलिरूप शरीर न धारत रूप गोस्वामी प्रभु 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 हे 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 श्री रूप गोस्वामी पाद की जय श्री सद्गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय. And now we are coming to phase 2 of yesterday's day. Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai. Page 64 by Śrī Vrindavan Das Thakur. Jai Jai Nityananda Rohini Kumar. In the tune of Srila Gaur Govinda Mahārāja. He has many tunes. Comes from a very famous Kirtaniya family, but he liked to sing that tune. Except when we sing it, we don't sing it like he does. He sings it with so much relationship, with so much ecstasy, with so much emotion, with so much, I can't even explain it, the excitement. I mean, bouncing off his asana and fully absorbed. So we can pray to him that may even a drop of his moods, especially what he would manifest on the day of Shri Nityananda Prabhu, may that manifest in our hearts. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Nityananda Rohini Kumar Jaya Jaya Nityananda Rohini Kumar Patita Udharo Lagi Dubahu Patita Udharo lagi Dubahu pasar Gada gada madhurama Madhura yadho bola Gada gada madhurama Madhura yadho bola जारे देखे तारे प्रेमे भोरी देया कोलो जारे देखे तारे प्रेमे भोरी देया कोलो भगम गलो चन भू रये Taro Jagama Golochana Bhu Raye Nirantaro Sonaro Parvata Jeno Hiraye Brahmara Sonaro जाने दो यारो ठाकुर निताय पर दुख जाने हरि नामे माला गाथी दिलो जगो जाने हरि नामे माला गाथी दिलो जगो जाने पापी पाषंदी जतो कोरिलो दलना पापी पाषंदी जतो कोरिलो दलना जाने कोइला प्रेम वितरण दीनो हीनो जाने कोइला प्रेम वितरण आहारे गौरांग बोली परे भूमि तले शरीर भिजिलो नेताय नयनेरो जले शरीर भिजिलो नेताय नयनेरो जले বৃন্দাবন দাস মনে এই বেছারিলো udharo lagi dubahu pasar patita udharo lagi dubahu pasar jaya nityananda ram 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 nitai he gaura he nitai he gaura he nitai he gaura he nitai he gaura he पतित पावन श्री नित्यानंद प्रभु की जय प्रेम पुरुषोत्तम शचिनंदन गौर हरि की जय. Just in the end, when I was singing that Nitai He Gaura He, I was remembering when we were in Mawilamba with our Srila Gurudev. I believe the program was at a school which has since become a gurdwara, from what I understand. So it was a big hall. And there, after the kirtan was sung, Srila Gurudev instructed that when we sing, we should sing with heart melting and tears flowing from our eyes. And then he gave the example. And he was like, Nitai He, Nitai He, Nitai He, Nitai He. And all of the devotees repeated. Slow like that. Then he said, Gaura He, Gaura He, Gaura He, Gaura He. And all the devotees repeated. Then he went into Nitai He, Gaura He, Nitai He, Gaura He, Nitai He, Gaura He, Nitai He, Gaura He. And then he was like, Radhe He, Krishna He, Radhe He, Krishna He. We have it on recording somewhere. It's just so beautiful how he was leading and the mood that he had, which he was trying to inspire in all of his little children at the time. All of us were just completely amazed by his presence and the mood by which he was calling out their names. And he said we should do kirtan like this. Not just singing, but really calling out. So, what we just read about Sri Nityananda Prabhu, what we just sung, was by Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur. One second, I just got an important message. One second. Interesting. Maybe it came here. It was for, yeah, related to you. Yeah. But I don't know where he is. Strange. Okay, oh, that's why. Sorry. One second. Okay. ठीक है. So, Śrī Nityananda Prabhu. This is by Vrindavan Das Thakur. If anyone knows anything about Vrindavan Das Thakur and his relationship to Śrī Nityananda Prabhu, the amazement, a lot, he said, the amazement by which he is looking at Śrī Nityananda Prabhu, how profound he views him, with how much mamata, possessive mood, then one would be careful to say anything which is not favorable to Nityananda Prabhu, and definitely avoid saying anything which is unfavorable, lest he will kick you in your head. Many times in Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, Vrindavan Das Thakur, he says this: anyone who says anything against my Nityananda Prabhu, I kick them in their heads. Of course, this is his mercy, because to receive the kick of any Vaishnava, especially of the caliber of Vrindavan Das Thakur, we should understand that that is not any small thing. By that kick, millions of lifetimes of sins, anarthas, and aparads can be removed. All glories to Sri Nityananda Prabhu, the son of Rohini. To deliver the fallen souls, he extends his two arms. You know, Nityananda Prabhu and Mahaprabhu, their arms are not like our arms. Our arms are quite short. Have you ever heard of this Ajanu Lambita Bhujo Kanakavadato? Or in the bhajan Ujvala Varana Gaura Varadeham Ajanu Lambita Shri Bhuja Jugalam. Their arms are very long and beautiful, extending down to their knees. So they're with their fingers, ours go like halfway down our thighs if we're lucky, but theirs extend down to their knees. They're very, very tall and beautiful, and sway to and fro. So he extends his two arms. With a choked voice, he stammers sweetly. Whomever he sees, he lovingly embraces. Overflowing with prema, whoever he sees, he lovingly embraces. We should somehow be in the vision of Nityananda Prabhu. You know, when we talk about darshan, like having darshan of Thakurji or darshan of Gurudev, Srila Gurudev Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja and so many of our Guru Varga have explained that with our material eyes we cannot really see transcendental things. So what is really darshan? Darshan is placing ourselves in the vicinity of those divine personalities so that they can see us. That idea is a little bit more frightening because a lot of us we want to hide. We don't want to be seen, to be looked into. You know how our Srila Gurudev with those piercing blue eyes would scan and literally see everything. And we think, oh, he's seeing my anarthas from this life. But no, he looked at one devotee and said, one glance at your forehead and I can see 100,000 lifetimes. There was an astrologer he told that to. So they're seeing everything. And how is it possible? Because Guru is the manifestation of Guru in the heart. Chaitya Guru manifests externally as Diksha and Shiksha Gurus. The function of Paramatma is as a witness to everything we've ever done since forever. And he's manifesting externally in the form of Diksha, Shiksha Gurus. So there is nothing that cannot be known to them, especially about us. We think we can hide, but really we can't. Gurudev said, the requirement for us, although Gurudev already knows, is for us to voice it. This is my anartha, please help me with that. Like Jagai Madhai, they also had to, what is the word? Confess. Right? There's something called confession and then repentance. So confession must be there and then repentance, meaning I will never do that again, and Gurudev will remove that anartha from our hearts. So, whomever he sees, he lovingly embraces. That means we should be in such a way that he will see us. If he sees us, then he will embrace us. Overflowing with prema, his eyes always roll about restlessly, looking like bumblebees hovering over a golden lotus. The merciful Lord, Śrī Nitai, knows the sufferings of others. Here's a point. Sometimes devotees have said, oh, Gurudev doesn't understand what's going on in my heart. Because he's transcendental, he doesn't know what suffering is. Srila Gurudev said, you cannot think like that. No disciple should think like that. Gurudev understands and knows what we're going through, what kind of suffering we're going through. Gurudev has also experienced a different kind of suffering. Not a material suffering, but a transcendental suffering that is more acute and painful than millions of times any suffering we could ever think about in the material world. That is the pain of separation from Hari, Guru and Vaisnavas. They feel that separation. They also feel a great shock, pain in the heart, being the embodiments of mercy and compassion of the Lord. When they're trying to give mercy and compassion, and instead of accepting it, we run away from it. Srila Gaur Govinda Mahārāja explains that you cannot fathom, you cannot conceive of the shock that Guru feels when he's given so much to his disciple and the disciple rejects it and goes away back into the fire of Maya. So he knows the suffering of others. Knowing our suffering, that means he can empathize with us. And seeing our suffering, he doesn't want us to suffer anymore because we've been suffering for too long, forever. So he knows our suffering and he desires to release us from our suffering. Therefore, Harinamir Malaganti Dilo Jagajane. He has strung together a garland of holy names which he has bestowed upon the people of this world. So just like what Nityananda Prabhu is doing here, our Sri Gurus do the same thing. Our Gurudev said, and I mentioned it yesterday, but I'll mention it again and again and again for our remembrance, our benefit. He said, be merciful to me and become happy. Chant your Harinam. When the pure devotee sees that any jiva is suffering in this world, because they are made of compassion, Krishna Kripa Shri Murti, the embodiment of Krishna's mercy, then they cannot help but feel some kind of suffering, seeing our pitiful condition. Just like for us, if any of us had a little bit of a soft heart, a little bit, if we see any animal that got hit by a car and they're crying off on the side of the road, making some horrible, pitiful sound in pain, will our heart not melt in compassion? Will we not want to help it? Will we just laugh it off and walk away? Naturally, our hearts will melt. They're seeing us like that. We're meant to love and serve Krishna. We're meant to be happy and blissful forever. We are meant to be beautiful and intelligent. Beautiful, Sat Chit Ananda. We're meant to be experiencing all of these things. That is the nature of every soul. But being embodied, encased in all of these material layers, we are constantly experiencing that which is temporary, asat. We are definitely ignorant of so many things, achit. And we experience so much suffering in the material world, nir-ananda. That is all foreign to the nature of this Atma. So, Jiva, what is it? Vairag Juga Bhakti Rasam Prayatnair Apayanan Mam Anubhikshamandam Kripambudirya Paraduka Dukhi. Paraduka Dukhi means they experience the greatest suffering of suffering, seeing our suffering. And therefore, they give something. They give their mercy. Like our Param Gurudev Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosvāmī Mahārāja, the sannyas guru of our Srila Prabhupada and our Gurudev. His pranam mantra says, Atimatra Charitraya Swashritānaṁ Chapaline Jiva Dukhe Sadartaya. Seeing the suffering of the jivas, he desires to give the best thing to them, Śrī Nama Prema Dayine. Same with Advaita Acharya, seeing the very, very low, horrible situation in this world. He desired to give the best thing, so he called the Supreme Lord himself to manifest. And Sri Nityananda Prabhu also feeling so compassionate, especially to those who are fallen, lowly, downtrodden, feeling hopeless and desperate. Nityananda Prabhu has a special inclination toward those persons. Whoever is feeling extremely proud, high and mighty, oh, I don't need help, I'm good, then they won't be able to receive that. But whoever is feeling themselves very lowly, think about it this way. If you're on the top of a mountain and you want water, it's very difficult to get it there. But if you go down to the valley, where all the water goes to, where the river is flowing, then you can drink. So if I'm on my mountain of pride, Janma Aishwarya Shruta Shri, my high birth, I am Brahmin, I am Kshatriya, I am Vaishya, I am Shudra, I am white, I'm black, I'm American, I'm Indian, I'm a man, I'm a woman, whatever makes you think that you're better than anyone else. I was born in Vrindavan, I was born in ISKCON, I got a cookie from Prabhupada, I got a cookie from Gurudev, whatever it is, whatever makes us think that we're better than other people, that mountain of pride, my janma, Aishwarya, wealth, material wealth, Shruta, material education, Shri, bodily beauty. These things can be a disqualification for bhakti because, as Kunti Devi says, they make one very proud. This is a verse from Kunti Devi's prayers, Janma Aishwarya Shruta Shri. They make a disqualification in bhakti because of the pride that comes from these situations. So Kunti Devi prays to Lord Krishna, please send these calamities again and again. Otherwise, we become absorbed in all of these things, my high birth and wealth and beauty and education, and we don't remember you. But with so many difficulties and calamities, then we are able to have your darshan, we're able to remember you and see you. So please send them again and again. Maybe most of us aren't at the level where we pray for calamities to come again and again. Some devotees were recently in Texas, and Texas lost all power, most of it, and it was freezing. They had no electricity, the water was freezing, people were dying, it was just crazy. And there was a lot of suffering going on, a lot of concern. So with this kind of situation, it's a calamity. Can we remember Krishna? Do we ask, please send these calamities again and again? But Kunti Devi is praying for that because otherwise these disqualifications cause one to forget Krishna. Rather, I want to say material qualifications cause one to forget Krishna and to enjoy the material facilities which are presented by these things. Of these four, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada said, which one? Okay, this is the question. See if you were listening previously, maybe 6 months ago I spoke about it. Of the four, Janma, high birth, Aishwarya, wealth, Shruta, education, high education, Shri, bodily beauty, which one is the most detrimental? Does anyone know? Oh, Rakdambar Prabhu, he's on it. Yes, material wealth. Why? You can see that anyone, even if they're very degraded, even having no education or very low education, no bodily beauty, no high birth, but if they have wealth, they can purchase the services of the others. In other words, they take the primary position even over all of them. So, Mahaprabhu says, Shastra says, Bhagavatam says, excessive wealth can make one's heart wicked. Therefore, generally, Krishna says, when I favor any of my devotees, I remove everything. I take away all of their wealth, everything from them, so that they have nowhere else to turn but me. It's not that every time these situations are disqualifications. Our Srila Gurudev mentioned Mahārāja Yudhishthira. What did Yudhishthira Maharaj request Krishna? He wanted something from Krishna. Make me the wealthiest person in the world. Krishna was looking at him like, all of my devotees are praying, please remove everything so that they can focus on me exclusively. And you're asking me for all wealth? Why? Yudhishthira Maharaj said, because so many are afraid to pray to you, because bandhu sange jarita baranga parihas, right? Those who approach you, they lose everything, so people are afraid to approach you. But I want them to see an example of someone who has affection and love for you, who has everything also, so that they will all come and pray to you. And Krishna understood, and he made Yudhishthira the wealthiest person. But Yudhishthira, his mood was exclusively for the service and devotion to Krishna. So because of that, this wealth was not a detriment for him. How much wealth came into the hands of our Gurudev and our Srila Prabhupada and Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj, our acharyas? How much wealth came into their hands? But Gurudev, I remember him saying, if Lakshmi Devi comes, we'll tell her, stay very far, stay over there, like this. Only utilizing in the service of Krishna, but not for any mundane purpose. So now I want to get back to the point here. I was mentioning our Param Gurudev's pranam, Atimatta Charitraya Swashritan Anshapaline Jiva Duke Sadataya Shrinama Prema Dayane. Seeing the excessive suffering of the jivas, their hearts bleed with compassion. This is the term our acharyas have used. Their hearts bleed upon seeing the suffering of the jivas, and therefore they desire to give them the best thing. What is that? Prem, divine love and affection for Sri Harinam Prabhu. This is what they want to give. Feeling this compassion. And Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada says, maybe it's in the Upadeshavali, I'll just double check. It might not be in every selfless welfare worker of the Gaudiya Math should be willing, ready to expend a minimum of 200 gallons of their own blood for the spiritual upliftment of each individual jiva of this world. That is the nature of compassion. That they will spend so much energy to try to rescue even one. And every one of our Guru Varga have said the same thing. Our Srila Prabhupada said it. Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj, our Gurudev. If only one accepts fully, then my mission is successful. How much energy do they expend at the age of 70, 75, 80, 90 years old, traveling around the world like a mad person? Who can do that at that age? That kind of traveling, even at our age, is exhausting. And even when we were much younger doing it, it still was exhausting. And these personalities are giving every last drop of their energy for the spiritual upliftment of the jivas of this world. This is the meaning of compassion or causeless mercy, ahoitiki kripa. Oops, I lost my page. What was that? Jai Jai Nityananda Rohini Kumar. He has subdued the sinners and the atheists, but he has distributed prem to the poor and the lowly. Subdued the sinners and the atheists. You know, we've heard that Nityananda Prabhu never becomes angry. And we've had this discussion before, but maybe some are here who weren't present at the time. When any divine personality shows anger, it is controlled anger. What is the meaning of controlled anger? It means it has a particular focus and a particular result. Whereas anyone like us, I don't know about you, but when we become angry, we might not know how to control it. Today I read a whole thing from our Srila Gurudev about don't become angry. Only very high class advanced personalities can control their anger. Even for defending Guru and Vaishnavas and Krishna. Still, he just said, don't become angry. Otherwise, we might curse anybody, even any great personality. So we should be very careful not to become angry. It is all-consuming. Kama, Esha, Krodha, what is it? No. I can't remember the verse at the moment. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying, while contemplating the objects of the senses, one develops attachment. From that comes lust. Frustrated lust brings anger, then delusion, bewilderment of memory, and then all intelligence is lost. One falls down again into the material pool, meaning the cycle of samsara. So Gurudev would say, don't be angry. But Nityananda Prabhu has shown some anger. So we see Akrodha Paramananda. He never becomes angry. When he was hit on the head by Madai, he didn't become angry. He expressed mercy. But for someone else, he manifested what appeared to be anger. But we should understand that when Krishna or any pure devotee manifests what appears to be anger, it always has a beneficial result. Like when Narada Muni cursed Nalakuvera and Manigriva, the twin sons of the god of wealth, Kuvera, who were sporting naked, intoxicated with apsaras. At that time, they were very disrespectful to Narada Muni, and he gave them a curse in what appeared to be anger. But what was the end result? They became Madhukanta and Snigdhakanta. They were personally liberated by Krishna himself. They were able to witness all of baby Krishna's pastimes with his loving devotees in Vrindavan. So there is always a benefit to this. So when Nityananda Prabhu might show anger or curse anyone, we should know that it is actually mercy to the greatest extent. It's different than our anger, which just burns someone. It doesn't have the positive result necessarily. That verse that I was looking for was Dhyayato Vishaya Pungsam. Don't become angry anymore. Gurudev would tell anyone, when they become angry, drink a glass of water. It'll cool you. And remember, when you go to drink that glass of water, think, Gurudev has told me to drink a glass of water. Then you'll remember Gurudev's face. You'll remember him, and then it will be difficult to be angry.
Well, I was once angry at someone, a devotee, who was doing wrong things. And we went to Gurudev, and Gurudev said he wouldn't take my anger because that person deserved it.
Can you hear her?
And then I said, well, I don't know why you put me with this person, why we were serving with her. I can't see the good in it. And then Srila Gurudev said, oh, you can also be angry with me, but no poison. So can you reconcile that? Sometimes anger is necessary.
They're uluing you.
I'll be back soon.
So Sudevi just mentioned that she was previously very angry at someone, and we brought it before Gurudev. And with that person. And Sudevi asked Gurudev, he said, what do you want? She said, I want you to take my anger. And Gurudev said, no, it's good.
They deserve it.
They deserve it. And Sudevi's like, but it's too much, it's consuming. And please take my anger. And Srila Gurudev said, no. And she said, but I can't understand why you put me in this situation. I can't see the good in it. And then Gurudev said, you can also be angry with me, but no poison. So this was 18 years ago, Gurudev said this. What does that mean? Anger can be there in relationships. It's natural. One can become frustrated and a little angry. But when it becomes vicious, malicious, and you will know because in certain cultures, it becomes to the point of where I want you and your entire family, your dynasty to be destroyed and burn in hell forever. That kind of thing, where it's completely uncontrolled. That means there's malicious intent, there's poison. It's different than anger, which is from frustration due to seva being cut or stopped, or due to maybe some kind of aparad, or yes, maybe other devotees are being abused by that personality or anything like that. But still, Gurudev said no poison. No poison means no malicious intent, no toxic nature. Like Gurudev said, even if any Mahabhagavat or advanced sadhu walks in front of you, he said, like, when you have your hand in your mala, you always keep this finger out. He called it the anger finger, and you're pointing at everyone, like you're going to shoot them. He called it the anger finger. The anger finger cannot reside within that sacred space of chanting. So when your mala is in there, anger finger is outside. That doesn't mean that it's for the purpose of pointing to people in anger when you are chanting, but it's remaining outside to give dignity to that sacred space. So Gurudev said that we should not be angry. But in this case, anger might be there, but we should not let it get to the point of poison. Usually what will happen is that poison will actually end up burning ourselves. It will end up making our own hearts toxic. And anyone who has been very angry like that will understand and feel it. I mean, they will call it adrenaline or whatever, but it makes the heart not healthy. It makes the mind not healthy. It is very consuming and disruptive. So Gurudev, he said again and again, don't be angry. There is a class, I'll try to post it afterward. Did I mention it okay, Sudevi? Mm-hmm. Okay. So, Nityananda Prabhu subdued the sinners and the atheists. What is the greatest sin? Vaishnava aparad. This is the greatest sin. Even all other sins can be easily removed, but Vaishnava aparad means against affection to the Vaishnavas or to any Vaishnava. What is offensive to the Vaishnava? And this we have to be careful for. Bhaktivedānta Thakur explains what is aparad versus what is not aparad. There's a whole article that he's done about it. He said, if you are saying something for the benefit of that person, for the benefit of all others, and for your own benefit, then it's not considered aparad because you're not doing it against affection. You're doing it out of concern. You're saying something. Vaishnava aparad is something different. Vaishnava aparad is disrespectful with negative intent, sadhu ninda, that doesn't have any positive solution or good outcome. It's only finding fault, criticizing, and then leaving it at that. It's not looking after the benefit of others. Is it Vaishnava aparad to notice, oh, this person here has a history of molesting children. Let me warn the parents of these children who are playing with that person. It's not aparad at all. It's not against affection. It's against affection to not say something. If we say something, then we will be benefiting that person who has the tendency. We will be benefiting the children. We will be benefiting the parents, and we will also maintain our relationship. If they find out years later that you knew but you didn't say anything, relationship will be cut. So what is aparad? Against affection. Appa, against radha, love and affection. So it's necessary to understand this. Nowadays, there's a blanket idea that anything you say about anything is aparad. Therefore, everything goes, and it's cool. That is perfect. The perfect storm for sahajya. And all of our Guru Varga, our sadhus, and our shastras, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all of them very strongly denounce this idea. It's not that everyone can be the protectors and the correctors and everything of everyone else. We have so many problems ourselves. But still, if someone is going against Guru, if someone is going against the Vaishnavas, if someone is going against Gauranga Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, Radha and Krishna, then we might have to step up and say something or do something, depending on our qualification. So once upon a time, there was one person who was born in a Brahmin family, but due to bad association, he became quite envious of Vaisnavas, disrespectful to Bhagavan, disrespectful to Chaitanya, to the Vaisnavas, disrespectful to so many. And his name became Ramachandra Khan. This Ramachandra Khan, he noticed something one day. Oh, this very, very beautiful young Vaishnava was receiving so much fame and glory. This person was born in a Muslim family. What a great birth. And he's taken to this Vaishnava Dharma, chanting Hare Krishna. What kind of lowly activity is this, he was thinking. So this person, due to bad association, became an atheist. And being atheistic, he was also against Vaishnavas, against God and against devotion to God. So that means against the devotees. Seeing this beautiful young sadhu completely taking shelter in Sri Harinam, this Ramachandra Khan decided, he's probably just pretending. I'm going to set up a situation where everyone can see that he's just pretending. I'm going to arrange for his fall down. So Ramachandra Khan, he was very wealthy. He was like the king of his village. He spent some good money to hire the most beautiful, beautiful prostitute. Her name was Laksha Hira. Laksha means 100,000, that's lakh, and Hira means gold. So she was quite wealthy and well-to-do because of her attractiveness. He hired the best, and he told her, I'm going to pay you a lot. You take down this Haridas. So he was there, Haridas, chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. 3 lakhs of Harinam every day. He made a vow to chant. I think it was 1 billion names in a certain amount of time. So this Lakshahira made herself quite alluring, being hired by this Ramchandra Khan, and she was supposed to report back to him the status of her takedown. So she went to go see Haridas in the evening. Oh, beautiful young man. You're so attractive, so handsome, so desirable. Any woman that sees you cannot resist. My desire to be with you is increasing within my heart. Please be with me. And he said, certainly I will fulfill your desires, but I have taken a vow. Certainly I will fulfill your desires, but I have taken a vow. So let me finish my Harinam, and then I will satisfy your desires. So all night, Hare Krishna, and she was just nearby, waiting. He was chanting. And then at a certain point in time, it got too late, and she left. The next day she came back. He apologized to her. I'm so sorry I was not able to fulfill your desires. Please forgive me. I promise after I complete my Harinam, I will satisfy your desires. So again, 2 days. And this Ramachandra Khan was asking, what's the status? And she's like, oh, he was chanting and I had no time, but I promise I will take care of business. But the 3rd night, Hare Krishna, completely undisturbed, this Haridas. And this Lakshahira, she became so enamored by Harinam. As she was sitting there, she began chanting with him. So her chanting was mixing with his chanting. And instead of her beauty alluring him, her sensual desires alluring him, because he had real taste in Harinam, what happened? This Harinam allured her. She became attracted to Krishna. She was chanting the holy names of Krishna. And then she fell at the feet of Haridas and begged forgiveness. Please be merciful to me. I was hired to try to break you. By Ramchandra Khan. Haridas said, I was aware of everything. I knew that this was the plan. But anyhow, she said, please forgive me. He said, of course. You should shave. He said, take everything that you have, all of your wealth and everything, and give it away. And you should remain in this place with Tulsi Devi and chant Harinam day and night. And then immediately, Haridas left that place. But what happened? So this Ramchandra Khan had used his wealth, had used his mind, his energy and senses to try to destroy, with intent, the simple, pure chastity of this pure devotee Haridas Thakur. He was envious of him, he was criticizing him, but Haridas Thakur was simply absorbed in chanting. Anyhow, this sin fructified. It doesn't just stay like that. The result of Vaishnava Aparad, it's kind of like a snowball effect. You know what a snowball effect is? If you make a small snowball, put it on the top of the mountain and let it roll, it collects more and more snow. It can become very big by the end, and whatever it hits at the bottom smashes and destroys everything. So, Nityananda Prabhu wanted to teach this Ramchandra Khan a lesson. There's a reason for it. Why? Because such a simple person requires some kind of mercy. They're in a very hopeless situation. One can be bound and trapped and stuck for millions and millions of lifetimes by Vaishnava Aparad. I once ran to my Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja. There was one person who, I don't even know if they're a sannyasi, I guess technically. Anyhow, they were a guru, and they had come into the assembly of Gurudev in New Braj. And I ran to Gurudev's room, and I said, if there is someone who has, I said, all jivas are eternal servants of Krishna, right? And he said, yes. And I said, this can never change, right? And he said, correct. And I said, so if there's anyone who has offended many, many Vaishnavas, what is the hope for them? Is there hope for them? He said, yeah. I said, and if they've come back into the association of devotees, but they've offended so many Vaishnavas, is there hope? He said, yes, but their progress will be very slow. And he pinched his fingers together like this, very slow. And I was a little bit shocked. It means that there's something which has stunted the spiritual growth. Of course, this can be removed. It is possible, but one has to follow the proper process to remove that. When we were living in Fiji and we were farming, there was something that we had to do in order to grow kava kava, which was the cash crop at the time. And we learned it. It's a sad thing, so please don't blame me for what I did way back in the past. It was over 20 years ago, I think, now. So we had a big farm, about 150 acres, and what you were supposed to do was plant all of the plants in a shaded area. And over time they would grow, they would become a bit strong, and then they would do something called ringing the trees. I don't know if you know what ringing the trees is. They would cut around the tree or cut some of the bark off the tree. Now, if you do it with a chainsaw, then you stop the flow of water from coming up. So gradually it dries up and the branches will dry and fall, and then it will leave everything sunny. The other way they would do it is cut around it and then put some chemical, and gradually it will dry up and die. So with Vaishnava Aparad also it can be like this. Everything might still look good for a while, but slowly, gradually, it's drying up. Even if you cut the tree in half and it falls, still you'll see so many leaves and fruits, and you'll be like, how is it possible that this tree still looks so beautiful? But there's nothing flowing into it. The flow has been cut. So slow, gradual, drying up and rotting away of whatever we have done so far. It is said that any progress one makes can save one from the greatest danger, even a little bit of progress. But Vaishnava Aparad, Krishna will stay far away from that place. He takes it personally, like a thunderbolt to his heart. So Srila Gurudev said that their progress will be very slow. So I just want to give you a little hope, because apparently we've made many, many aparads for many, many lifetimes, and that's why we have no taste in Harikatha, no taste in Harinam. We have so much taste for all kinds of television shows and news and all of the things of this world, and money and beautiful men and beautiful women and pratishta and all of these things. So this, we should know, is the result of aparads from many previous lives. Even if we have come into the association of pure devotees, still we're so dense due to so much aparad that we're not attracted. We want to be involved with everything else, but not really attracted to the process of bhakti. We should know that this is due to aparads. That's why we pray to Vaisnavas, look at my situation. What is it? Amar jivana sada paperata nahi ko punyerlesh parere udveg diachi jekoto diachi jivere klesh. Bhaktivedānta Thakur is showing, not, this is what he's thinking of himself because of his humility. But when we read that bhajan, we will understand that this is not my humility, this is my reality. And he's saying, aparadhi nirantar. There's no end to my aparads. I'm just offensive by my nature. So we have this kind of thing, but still, in such a state, eheno durjana sajana varjita. He's praying, please be merciful to me. This is my condition and I cannot even help myself. I don't know how to, and I don't even know if I want to. Please be merciful to me. Please help me. Please give me what I need for my spiritual upliftment. Oh. And now I'm feeling really bad for ringing trees. Actually, I had my workers do it, but still I was responsible. So I'm the kind that even feels bad when I have to sometimes kill a mosquito. I'm like, oh. One time we were in Mathura. It was early on, probably 96. And Srila Gurudev was sitting there. Somehow I recall that he was sitting facing the road. So he wasn't sitting with his back to the road, he was sitting with his back toward the mutt, Sri Keshavaji Gaudiya Mutt. And at that point he was speaking about something, and he just went like this, ever so gently, just like this. And then he looked at his hand, and you could see there was a streak of blood across his forehead, and there was a dead mosquito on his finger. And he just looked, and he looked so sad, and he was like, don't do. So the compassion of the Vaishnavas, this is one of their main qualities of the devotee, 26 qualities. The first one, kripalu, this is mercy and compassion. So our tendency might be just to like poison rats and kill flies and kill mosquitoes, but the Vaishnava, they have some kind of mood of compassion that they don't want to create any difficulty for any jiva. So Bhaktivedānta Thakur is saying, aparadhi nirantara. This is my nature. So Nityananda Prabhu wanted to help this great aparadhi, Ramchandra Khan. He, with malicious and envious intent, wanted to destroy the reputation of a pure devotee of the Lord, and actually made, not only from thinking to feeling, but to the willing stage. Right? He thought about it, he felt it, and he actually made the endeavor to try to make it happen. So it is said in Kali Yuga, for thinking something, maybe there's no negative effect. But generally, that thinking becomes more and more and turns into feeling. It becomes a part of you. And then that feeling generally manifests in an external form. It is called willing, making it happen. So if one can catch something in the thinking stage and not let it go beyond that, then we're very, very fortunate. Married person sees a beautiful lady or a beautiful man, and they're like, they shouldn't let it go past that. Boom, stop, Hare Krishna, and leave it. But if you absorb your mind in it, and you start feeling it, then you might run after that thing, right? Dhyato vishayapungsan. While contemplating the objects of the senses, one develops attachment. So that's the contemplation is thinking, the attachment is the feeling. And then willing means you're running after that. Oh. Old way to clear the land by slowly, painfully killing a tree. Yes, and these were big, big rain trees that were on that property. There's a lot of things that we had to do while farming, which I didn't like. Mahaprabhu does tell us to keep the weeds out. Means we have to weed the garden. Shravana kirtana jale koriye sechan. How do you water your bhakti lata, the creeper of bhakti? With hearing and chanting. But also you need to take those weeds out. Anything which is not favorable, the anarthas. So many things start creeping up and we remove those weeds which are unfavorable. Oftentimes they look just like the creeper itself, so one has to be very careful to understand and know what is what. Don't pull out the bhakti lata creeper, you pull out the other ones. And then Mahaprabhu says make a fence around it. And don't let that mad elephant, hati mata. Mata means mad and hati means elephant. Don't let that mad elephant run into your garden. Mad elephant does not know how to discriminate. It just runs in the garden and smashes everything. So keep a very strong fence around it. Don't let this mood of aparad, offensiveness toward Vaisnavas, destroy our inclination on the path of bhakti. It's not that the nature of the soul can be destroyed. This can never be destroyed because it's abhyayam, it's immutable, and it is to love and serve Krishna. But the opportunity and the desire or the inclination to serve Krishna, that can be stunted. Sometimes things can grow, but if the chemical is there, it will be very, very slow. Only by mercy, like Jagai and Madai received, desperate mercy and real true repentance and weeping and praying and crying can this aparad be lifted, as we've seen with Devananda Pandit. So we're not going to keep going in that direction. We're going to come back to this Ramchandra Khan. So Nityananda Prabhu went to that village, and there he took shelter in the Durga Mandap. It is like a pandal, a big tented area for hosting thousands of pilgrims. And there he sat on the altar of Durga, and thousands of his associates were there. At that time, Ramchandra Khan received a message from Nityananda Prabhu. He said, we want to stay here the night. Ramchandra Khan sent a message back with his servant. It's not a befitting place for any sadhu. Rather, you should stay in the Goshala. There, everything is pure because cow dung is there, cows are there. You should stay in the Goshala. You should not stay in the Durga Mandap. Nityananda Prabhu said, he responded, this place is not befitting for any of us. We will leave here immediately. Ramchandra Khan was feigning respect. I know. Ramchandra Khan was feigning respect. Oh, a better place for sadhus is where the cows reside and where it's full of cow dung. Sadhus like that. So Ramchandra Khan was disrespectful, first toward the Vaishnava and then toward the source of Guru Tattva itself, Śrī Nityananda Prabhu, Baladev Prabhu. He was disrespectful and offensive to him and thousands of other Vaishnavas. So this is the snowball effect I was telling you about. Nityananda Prabhu said, this place is not fit for any of us. This place is fit for the killing of cows. Very soon, the Muslim rulers will come through this place and they will destroy everything. And they will take over. And they will kill a cow right in this place. Nityananda Prabhu got up with all of his associates and left that place immediately. The next day, band of Muslim government agents came through. That time they were ruling India. They came through. They destroyed everything. Srila Gurudev said they killed so many of the family members of Ramchandra Khan. Sometimes we hear that they arrested him and his family. Sometimes we hear they killed so many. They burnt the entire village to the ground. In that very place, That very place. You can think it was a tirtha, but because he was offended in that place and left that place, it became a place fit for the killing of cows. So they slaughtered a cow and cooked it and ate it in that very place. Ramachandra Khan, everything, all of his village and everything was destroyed. All of the wealth was taken. He lost everything in a moment. This is the result of Vaishnava aparad. One time, we heard this very early on. There was one devotee who was criticizing some senior Vaishnavas. Those Vaishnavas were a little bit ignorant about proper etiquettes, but their intention was good. So that devotee was questioning Gurudev, why are you giving so much attention to these people? They're just like this, they're just like that, they're like this, they're like that, why, blah, blah. And Gurudev said, you should be careful. First, you're going to criticize them. Then you're going to criticize their guru. Then you're going to criticize Mahaprabhu. Then you're going to criticize Krishna, and you will leave the path of bhakti forever. Sure enough, we witnessed over time as that took place. First, criticizing these ones. They were ignorant. Gurudev said if someone is ignorant, then it might be considered sin, but not aparad. As he would say, if someone was offending him many times, it's not aparad. He said they're like naughty boys. They don't understand properly. But for those who understood, I remember Gurudev saw that one in 1996 when I first saw him and had my first conversation with him. At that time, there was a very prominent person sitting there from Bengal. He was sitting in front of Gurudev. And Gurudev said, I can understand why they are treating me like this. Maybe they don't know better, but you understand, you know better. I cannot understand why you are going along with this. That is something to take into consideration. So for someone who is ignorant or doesn't understand things properly, then there's some concession. Okay, they're ignorant. It's like a baby. A baby doesn't know, urine and stool and food everywhere. And you kind of go like, okay, let's give him a bath. But for someone who's supposed to be mature, who knows better, then they are implicated in that aparad. It's not just pap or sin, it becomes aparad. So one should be very, very careful for this. Yes, it was the same time when I asked him. So Nityananda Prabhu, Gurudev said sometimes he gives big mercy and sometimes little, big lessons and little lessons. It appeared that Nityananda Prabhu was angry. But what did he do there? Well, he gave the result of that person's aparad. We should not see that it is like mundane anger. It's not that Nityananda Prabhu is consumed with anything, but Nityananda Prabhu cannot tolerate when any pure devotee is being maligned. Why? Because within the heart of the pure devotee, the Supreme Lord is fully situated. Tumhare hriday sada Govinda Vishram, Govinda kohina mama Vaishnava paran. Confirmed. We're having a lot of power outages. I'm wondering why. Maybe I should bring our backup battery here too, so we don't have to deal with this anymore. So, I'm just going to do kirtan with you for a little bit. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Prabhu Nityananda, Guru Nityananda, Prabhu Nityananda, Guru Nityananda, Guru Nityananda, Guru Nityananda. Nityananda, Prabhu Nityananda, More Guru Nityananda, Jai Sachinandana, Jai Gaurahari, 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 Nityananda Pranodhana, Sankirtan Bihari, Nityananda Pranodhana, Sankirtan Bihari, Nitai Gaurango, 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 Nitai, 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 Nitai Gaurango, Nitai, 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 Nitai Gaurango, 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 Nitai he, 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 Gaur 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 he. Patit Pavan Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Prem Purushottam Sachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai. So he has subdued the sinners and the atheists, subdued them, but he has distributed prem to the poor and the lowly. What does that mean, poor and lowly? Those who are feeling themselves undeserving. I don't deserve this. I have no qualification. I'm so poor. I'm so low. Those persons Nityananda Prabhu is attracted to. Oh, look how you are. You are in such a condition, but yet you are sincere. He wants to help them. He wants to help everyone, but especially those persons. Srila Gurudev said he would go and embrace them without any judgment, without discrimination, just embracing, calling out, alas, O Gauranga. He falls to the earth. Nitai's whole body becomes soaked with the tears from his eyes. So Nityananda Prabhu is completely sold out to Gauranga. Once upon a time, it was the time for Vyas Puja. And it was going to be at the house of Srivas Pandit. So they were waiting for everyone to come. Mahaprabhu was a little bit late. So Srivas Pandit gave the garland to Nityananda Prabhu and told him, you should start the ceremony. First, you should garland Ved Vyas, and then we can start the proceedings. Mahaprabhu will come anytime. So Nityananda Prabhu was delaying. He was taking his sweet time. And they were like, you should put the garland. He's like, yes, yes, okay, yes, I'm just about to. I'm just going to do this. And he was delaying and delaying. You could say procrastinating. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, Sachinandan Gaura Hari. I think that time it was still pre-sannyas. And there, Nityananda Prabhu and all were there. Srivas Pandit said to Mahaprabhu, why? To Sachinanda Gaura Hari, Nityananda is not putting the garland on Vyas. Why is he's delaying? So Sachinanda Gaura Hari went to Nitai. Why are you delaying? What's going on? And immediately Nityananda Prabhu took that garland and put it on the neck of Sachinanda Gaura Hari. Why? Because Vyas is the manifestation of Krishna. Krishna Dvaipayan Ved Vyas. Sachinanda Gaura Hari is avatari, same as Krishna. Radha Bhava Duty Sivalitam Nomi Krishna Swarupam. So Nityananda Prabhu was showing that he is Jagat Gurum. Vande Krishna Jagat Gurum. Also, our Srila Gurudev said how we should see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We should see him as Jagat Guru, as the Guru of the universe. But Mahaprabhu wants us to develop loving service to Radha and Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told this to Raghunath Das Goswami, Braje Radha Krishna Manasa Seva Korive. Always within your mind and heart, remember and serve Radha and Krishna. So this is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving the order to do. In this connection, and I've told it before, once we were in Italy, I believe it was a morning walk, Venice, I believe, on the other side of the water from Venice. And I asked Srila Gurudev, we have heard and we have read that there is no conception of aparad while chanting the names Nitai Gauranga. And chanting the names Nitai Gauranga are capable of awakening prema within our hearts. But with chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, there are so many possibilities of making aparad. The 10 offenses are present. So why don't we just chant Nitai Gauranga, if that can awaken prema? Why are we also chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra? And Gurudev thought for 1 second, and he said, because Mahaprabhu wants you to. And I thought about that for a moment. Yes. When you're chanting the names Nitai Gauranga, that is capable of awakening prema. But what is capable of awakening prema? When you call on them, they give you their mercy. And Mahaprabhu is giving his mercy. What is his mercy? Nir aparada nama loilo paye premadan. Without aparad, always taking shelter of the holy names. By this, prema will manifest. Niraparat nama loilo. Pai premadhan. The wealth of prema will manifest in your heart. Because Mahaprabhu wants you to. So if you're calling to Nitai and Gauranga, please be merciful to me. Please be merciful to me. As Guru, as Jagat Guru, what is their function? Their function is to give us that best thing to awaken prema within our hearts. Nitayar Kuruna Have, Vraje Radha Krishna Pave, Dharuntai Charana Dukani. By taking shelter of the lotus feet of Nityananda Prabhu, then one can attain the shelter of the lotus feet of Sri Radha and Krishna. Same with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahe Anya. Please give me your mercy. Okay, here's my mercy. Chant Harinam. Always. In humility, with devotion. Cheto Darpanamarjanam, Trinada Pisanichena, etc. and so forth. So when you ask for mercy and they give you their mercy, then you have to accept the mercy. And their mercy is coming in that form. So when Gurudev said that, because he wants you to, then I was like, right, okay, I got it. I just wanted to share that with you. Within his heart, Vrindavan Das considers Sri Nityananda Prabhu to be like Mount Sumeru falling upon the earth. So seeing his form, it's not white, he's golden and lustrous, amazing, beautiful. Sometimes the description of how he appears is different, but like Mount Sumeru, it's made of gold. Sometimes it is said Nitai is the color of molten gold, which is bright and brilliant. Anyhow, his complexion is the color of loving service to the Lord. So everything he does is in service to the Lord. I'm remembering at this moment. Maybe I'll tell it after. I want to sing Śrī Nityanandāṣṭakam with you. And there are many different tunes I've heard, but I'm not sure about them, because when they tell what the meter should be, it's usually in the Ashtakam. And so we should try to sing the meter according to what's in the Ashtakam. Otherwise, you can actually mess up the meter and lose the pronunciation. Page 267. I know that aparad discussion is really intense, but because we're speaking about Ramachandrakana, it's necessary at that point in time that with aparad comes more and more and more, and then one loses everything. So we've seen it with the brother of Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami. We've seen it also with Ramachandrakana. The Śrī Nityanandāṣṭakam is also by Vrindavan Das Thakur. Wow. And before singing it, I want to just read it through, because it helps us to have a little bit of a meditation while we're singing it, even if we remember one or two bits from this Ashtakam. The sphere of his bright face resembles a wandering autumnal moon. His pure complexion glistens. His gait is like that of an elephant. He is utterly intoxicated in Krishna Prem, and he is the personification of pure spiritual energy, Vishuddha Sattva. His face is smiling, his eyes are ever rolling. His hand holds a staff, and by performance of Nam Sankirtan, he dispels the forces of Kali. I perpetually worship Śrī Nityananda Prabhu, the root of the Krishna Bhakti tree. Why? Without Nityananda Prabhu, you cannot attain the mercy of Mahaprabhu. So this is the root. Also, he manifests in the form of Shri Guru. We understand from Bhagavatam that if one serves the root, which is Krishna, automatically everything is served. But what is the root of Krishna? For us, that first form of Krishna in our lives is known as Guru Krishna. That is the root of the root. So first and foremost, to Guru, and Guru is the manifestation of Nityananda Prabhu. He is the abode of all rasas. He is everything to his devotees. He is beyond compare, and he is the dear husband of Vasudha and Janama Devi. They are his eternal consorts. One is manifestation of Revati, and the other is the manifestation of, I can't remember at the moment. Please forgive me. Janama Devi is also non-different from Anangamanjari. Because Nityananda Prabhu was married, so many people did not respect him properly. But Mahaprabhu respected him. All of Mahaprabhu's eternal associates respected him. But there were so many who didn't give him the proper respect. Oh, he's married, he's got 2 wives, this and that. He's avadut. He's wearing an earring in one ear. Sometimes doing some things which are very wild and very difficult to understand. Like he broke Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's danda. It was left in his care. When Mahaprabhu went to one temple, he left his danda in the care of Nitai. He came back, Nitai had broken his danda in 3 parts and thrown it into the river. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada explains why he did that. Because Mahaprabhu received sannyas from Keshav Bharati in the Mayavad line. Still he received sannyas. So they got one danda, that is Ekadanda sannyas, that represents the oneness, monism. Everything only one. Nityananda Prabhu did not like that, so he broke the danda in 3. Why? Because that represents at least the 3 things necessary. Bhagavan, the Jiva, or the Shakti, and the relationship between them. So many meanings of 3, but Tridandi Sannyas is showing the path of devotion. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada explained the meaning of him breaking the danda. But from the outside, it was like, you just broke his danda in 3 parts and threw it in the river. That river has been named after that. Danda Bhanga something, Nadi. Danda Bhanga Nadi means the broken Danda river. Since that time. So they disrespected Nityananda Prabhu. They didn't give him the same respect as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Vrindavan Das Thakur had very strong words to say about this for those persons who were treating them as separate, not as like one supreme personality. Nitai and Gauranga are like one and the same. Vrindavan Das would again and again say, I kick them in their heads, I kick them in their heads, I kick them in their heads, for those persons who disrespect Nitai. Nitai is always maddened in prema, and he is unknown only to those of mundane intelligence. So if someone tries to calculate him through their mundane intelligence, they cannot understand. I perpetually worship Śrī Nityananda Prabhu, the root of the Krishna Bhakti tree. He is most dear to Mother Shachi's son. He is worshipped by the entire universe, and he is forever filled with joy. By his unbounded mercy, he rescues the souls drowning in this age of Kali. And by performing Shri Harinam Sankirtan, he evaporates the swelling pride in this ocean of mundane existence. This also reminds me of that bhajan that we sing regularly. Gauranga bolite habe pulaka sharir, Hari Hari bolite nayane babinir, Ar kabe nitai chander, koruna hoebe, sangsarabashanamor kabe tucha habe. Srila Gurudev explained in terms of this bhajan that we shouldn't say it as, when Nityananda Prabhu gives me his mercy, then Ar kabe nitai chander koruna hoebe. When he gives me his mercy, then sangsarabashanamor kabe tucha habe. My existence or my residence in this sangsar, material cycle of repeated birth and death, will be rendered insignificant. Kabe tucha habe. Srila Gurudev said we shouldn't say it like that. Rather, we should make it a prayer. How we say that word when makes a big difference. And maybe you understand the tenses. Instead of when he does this, it should be a prayer. When, oh when, will he do this? When, oh when, will he give me his mercy? Oh Nityananda Prabhu, when, oh when? With a hope and an expectation and a prayer. It should be like now. E baro kurana koro, now, this time, just now, give me your mercy. Instead of when he chooses one day down the road, that kind of thing, then it's a little bit, it's lacking greed, it's lacking hope, it's lacking expectation, it's lacking immediacy, it's lacking urgency. But when you make it into a prayer, instead of when he does this, when oh when will you do this? Then it becomes the prayer. So Gurudev explained that we should say it like that. Sangsara vashanamor kabe tucha habe. Our entire sojourn through our material existence, what has been binding us here since forever, can be rendered insignificant by the mercy of Śrī Nityananda Prabhu. I'm remembering that verse now from Śrīmad Bhagavatam. Samashrita ye padapallavaplavam mahaparam punya yashomurare bhavambidir vatsa padam param padam 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 yagvi padam natesham. Srila Prabhupada would quote that last line quite often in this world where there is danger at every step. So I'll continue speaking, whether my eyes are open or not. Oh, there we go. So there it says, Bhavambidir vatsa padam param padam. Padam param, param padam. The entire ocean of material existence will be rendered insignificant. How? To what extent? Okay, this is the question. And the result, whoever gets the answer right will get the full plate of Maha Sweets from the morning offering. Come on, come on. Bhavambudir vatsa padam param padam. I just read this comment by Rudragupta. They preach in an indirect way, focusing rarely on Krishna and mainly on material stuff, motivation, relationships, becoming life coach, etc. Oh, Sonam, okay, we've got a Tattva Darshi here. Samashrita ye padapalvaplavam mahapadam punya yashomurare bhavam vatsa padam 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 yad vipadam natesham. What is the meaning of the third line? Bhavam vatsa padam padam padam. Definitely something about feet. I'll give you a hint. There's go and there's go vatsa. Go means cows, and what's a go vatsa? So yes, there's a tendency for some to do this, to try to gain popularity, to try to appear smart, witty, to keep attention. But we've never seen any of our Guru Varga do this. Our Guru Varga would tell the truth. They would toe that line only, and they would see through the eyes of Shastra. So maybe someone's prominent, but they're trying to be smart and trying to gain something. This is not our process. Unless directly ordered by Sri Guru to do so, we should endeavor to repeat the words of our Gurudev and our Guru Varga, the conceptions that they've given us, and keep it pure. It's very easy to do all of these other things. But Srila Prabhupada said we should not make a show or a presentation. Rather, we should try to be in such a way that by our devotion, a mood of devotion will manifest in the hearts of the audience. So it's nice to make a show and a fancy thing, and it's like, okay, well, we can make a big show and do something and make everyone laugh, and it's like a comedy show. But actually this process is very deep. It's not a thing for fun, and it's not just for impressing people. The only impression we need to make is an impression of devotion for Krishna. Maybe someone can, oh, very good. Water contained and a calf's hoof. Oh my God, a lot of devotees are getting the whole plate of Maha sweets. Jai. So Vaisnavas are known as Shastra Chakshusha. Srila Prabhupada said, and I believe you can find it on that quote from Srila Prabhupada on, I can't remember at the moment, Gaudiya Vaishnava Siddhanta discussions. Very first quote there. Srila Prabhupada said, a Vaishnava never says, I think, I feel, I believe, maybe this, if that. They never speculate or anything like that. When a Vaishnava is asked any question, immediately they quote from Shastra. This is the nature of Vaishnava Shastra, Chakshushaha. And we've seen our Guru Varga do all of this. Otherwise, very easily, we can become derailed. Very easily. Into trying to please the audience. Our goal is not to please the audience. This activity that we're doing should be part of bhakti. And what is the nature of bhakti? It is to please Krishna. First and foremost, to please Gurudev. Not to please the audience. Oh, the audience will be pleased if I say this thing. What about this punchline? And I've seen people practice for their punchlines also. And you're like, oh, you've planned this out. And now you're hitting the punchline to impress the audience. This will not bring about bhakti. Really, with every activity that we're doing, if we put that verse, anyabhilashita shunyam, in the forefront, the definition of bhakti, will this activity, will these words, will this be pleasing to Gurudev and Krishna? Am I trying to do this to gain some pratishta from the audience? Or am I doing it with the intent of representing my Gurudev? For his happiness, his pleasure. I should repeat his words and hold on as tightly as possible to his moods, his instructions, and represent him to the best of my ability in a way that he will give a sidelong glance. Maybe, my kitten is now growing up, becoming a lion, and some pride will come. We should enter into the pride of Gurudev. He's like a lion. We're babies, but one day we will have to enter into that pride. Become qualified. And the way to do that is to learn from them and to behave like them. That I am giving up my independent mood and I'm mixing all of my desires with your desires. O Gurudev Koromore Atmasat, make me yours. Make me like you, but also make me yours. With that mood, pleasing Krishna, pleasing Gurudev, then gradually, eventually, all of this selfish, independent, self-centered thing, the clamoring for pratishtha, that can be dissipated eventually. So should we speak against this or focus on our bhajan? We should speak favorably for Krishna. If someone is qualified to, or in the position to say something, Srila Gaura Mahārāja explained, if you even have that position where you can say something, most people won't listen anyhow. If you have a relationship enough where you can say something, don't do it in public because they won't listen in public, then you might take them to the side privately and say, Prabhu, you know I have so much affection for you. I've noticed something. Please allow me to say. He said, if they give permission, then you can say. Otherwise, what good will come of it? They will become upset, angry at you. Their ego will be hurt. Your ego will be hurt. Your relationship will be broken. And there won't be any positive outcome. But Sri Guru and the senior Vaisnavas, then they have an obligation to correct these things. So, otherwise, then, like Bhakti Kamal Govinda Maharaj told us, instead of cutting everything down, he said there are so many shops in the market. And trust me, I've seen it in Loy Bazaar. There's a sabji market. You go out there and you go from one to the next, to the next, to the next. I went to the first shop. They had nice zucchini. They said 20 rupees a kilo. When I took 2 kilos, then I said, how much? They said 30 rupees a kilo. I said, but you just said 20. And they're like, no, 30. And then I asked the guy across the way, how much? He said 15. And I said, he's selling 15 and you're saying 30. And those ones were like the same. And I was like, and then they said, just go. And I was like, okay. And then I went just around the corner and that guy had beautiful zucchinis and his were only 10 rupees a kilo. And I was like, my God, these guys were trying to charge 30. The point is there are so many different shops and so many different qualities. So Srila Bhakti Kamal Govinda Maharaj told us, he said, some shops are selling, he was talking about fruit. So maybe mangoes. So many are selling their fruit and selling their mangoes. These ones are sour. These ones are overripe and rotting. He said you could spend your time saying, don't buy those are sour. Don't buy those are rotting. Or you could say, come to my shop. I have so many beautiful, sweet, fresh, and wonderful ripe fruit. How sweet and tasty. Come to my shop. He said, instead of focusing on all of that, you show them what you have. And those who are sincere, they will search and they will find. And if you are honest, if you are straightforward, if you are simple, if you give the best price right off the top, and you don't cheat, if you are responsible, if you are dedicated, if you are trustworthy, then those persons will come back to you again and again. Oh, you have good quality, good price, and I can depend on you. You're not going to give me anything rotten or sour. And then they don't need to look anymore. Only someone who's not sure, they go everywhere, like me. But someone who's sure, I do have a favorite shop in Loy Bazaar Marketplace. But now we're in a different location, so Bhakti Kamal Govinda Maharaj gave us this instruction. So instead of, let's say, finding fault, and maybe we don't have the qualification to say anything, people will just take it negatively, then we can just speak about Krishna. Like we went to that one program in Lithuania, and the devotee who was there, we just, normally we would speak, it was a public program, but we were talking about Krishna, the person, and Vrindavan, and the speciality of Krishna, and just told some sweet pastimes of his childhood. And one person, a devotee, came up to us from a particular temple. And they were like, oh my God, finally, I've been able to hear some pastimes of Krishna. I came to the temple 5 years ago. 5 years. And I've been serving. And everyone talks about, yes, the pastimes of Krishna, but no one tells the pastimes of Krishna. They just talk about it. Yes, you should hear the pastimes of Krishna.
That might not be every temple.
Not every temple. So she said that every time a sannyasi would come, anytime any senior devotee would come, any preacher would come through, she would be so excited. Now I'm going to receive the opportunity to hear about the pastimes of Krishna. And nope. Years went by and she didn't hear any. She said none, not once did she hear any pastimes of Krishna. And then she came to our public program, and I think Sudevi just told us sweet, maybe a Damodar Lila or something, Krishna stealing butter, and she was so excited, over the moon. So instead of finding fault with all of these different things, we can share that thing which is truly tasteful. And what is tasteful? What our Gurudev and Guru Varga have given us. Our Gurudev told the pastimes of Krishna, so we share the pastimes of Krishna. Srila Prabhupada told so many pastimes, you can read them in Krishna book as well, and he had that distributed all over the world by the millions. So the pastimes of Krishna are there. If we focus on doing the positive, never mind so many millions might do things which are negative, but if we focus on doing the positive, then we are doing our seva. Only if we see that there is possibility of grievous harm coming to any Vaishnava, then we should speak out. But it's not necessarily our business to go around finding the flaws in every little thing. We don't need to associate with it though. Srila Bhaktivedānta Bharati Mahārāja explained that if you have no faith in the speaker and no respect really, then what is the meaning of you sitting in front of them and hearing them speak? It will be kind of a fraud, a sham, and it's actually in a sense disrespectful to that speaker. You're sitting there, but you're not really listening. You're not giving them your ears. You're not giving that honor because you don't have faith in them. To really hear Harikatha, one should have faith in the person who's speaking to some extent. Some respect, some honor, that I will listen to what you're going to say. Otherwise, they're wasting their breath on you and you're wasting your time sitting there not listening. So either way, it's not favorable. So I wanted to share that with you as well. So let's continue with this. I hope I made my points. If we represent, there are so many devotees which I have listened to. And you can tell who's speaking from Gurudev, who's speaking from Sadhu and Shastra, and who's speaking from their own mind. And you can tell what's favorable and what's not. Am I representing? Are they quoting authority? Are they quoting Vaisnavas? Are they speaking about self-help? Are they changing the teachings of Guru Varga into kind of a feel-good thing? Making it into something else? Trying to become famous and make money off it or something like that? It's really easy to do that. It's very easy to do that. I remember years and years and years ago, we were we did a program in Topanga Canyon near Malibu in California. And we were invited by one old senior Vaishnava who is also a friend of ours. And I had known him since I was little. And we didn't know it, but some people who came to that program were members of Toastmasters. I don't know if you've heard of it, but basically they were professionals who teach people how to speak in public. They say the number one fear, even greater than fear of than that of death, is public speaking. So we were there at this program, and I can't remember if it was either us or the devotee we were traveling with, but they were speaking, and this person came up afterward and said, we don't even see this in Toastmasters. People need their notes, they need to hold their paper clips, they need to do something, and they're not able to just speak from their heart and off the top of their head. we don't even see this. This was amazing to witness. So if one endeavors to serve Gurudev, if one endeavors to please Gurudev, and Gurudev is somewhat pleased, then automatically all ability can come. Krishna says, I am the ability. And if we serve and if we please and we make that endeavor, then Guru and Krishna give that capacity. Because even with all of our mundane material capacities, that's not necessarily enough. That won't give one drop of ability for Krishna Bhakti Ras. Janma koti shukritar na labhyate. I have to just adjust my position here. Janma koti shukritar na labhyate. Millions of lifetimes of accomplishments and doing good deeds in this world and everything, that cannot give one the qualification for Krishna Bhakti Rasa. What is the root qualification for the attainment of Krishna Bhakti Ras? What is the root qualification? Here's the question. And what would you get? Isha Thakurani's calzone. Radhe Radhe. See you tomorrow. What is the root qualification? I just saw she made some the other day and posted it online, and I was like, oh my God, those look amazing. Yes, but specifically, according to this verse, what our Gurudev has told us, the verse starts with Krishna Bhakti Rasabhavitamati Kriyatam Jadi Kutopi Labhyate. I'm not going to tell the third line. Fourth line, Janma Koti Shukritar Na Labhyate. Five. Okay, I'm going to tell the third line in Sanskrit, and then whoever gets it in English will win. Tatra lolyam apimulyam ekalam. And I'll leave it at that, and I'll continue reading this. O my brother, Gauranga, contaminated by the vices of Kali Yuga, what will become of mankind? He thus advises the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Ha! Jiva Pavana Prabhu ki jai, tatra lolyam apimulyam ekalam. The root qualification for the attainment of Krishna Bhakti Rasa is the intense, greedy desire to attain it. And that can be had how? How can you awaken that intense, greedy desire? That's the next question. And for that, you get Isha Thakurani's, Daya Hari and Nandini's ravioli with their, basil and tomato sauce. It's quite amazing, really. So then, Rudragupta Prabhu, you should teach it. Just share whomever you speak with. What did Mahaprabhu say? Whomever you meet, wherever you go, tell them about Krishna. And tell them, like our Goswamis, He Radhe Vrajadevike Chalalite He Nanda Shuno Kuta Shri Govardhana Kalpapad Patale Kalindi Vanye Kuta Goshantavati Sarvato Vrajapure Ke Dharmaha Vifalo Vande Rupa Sanatano Ragujago Shri Jiva Gopalako. Tell them what you have learned. What I find myself doing. Our Srila Prabhupada has given everything. It's there in his books. Our Gurudev said it 1,000 times. You know what they say in English, until you're blue in the face? Gurudev said it again and again and again. I'm not giving anything new. Same wine in new bottle. It's there in his books. Maybe in his classes he couldn't give it directly, but it's there in his books. Under lock and key, but Gurudev was revealing it to us. There it is, here it is, here it is, here it is. Jaha Bhagavatapara Vaishnavirasthane. under the guidance of any expert Vaishnava, then you can understand and read Shastra, Bhagavatam. You will understand and see. Everything is there. So our Srila Prabhupada gave everything. I don't know if he gave the basil tomato sauce. But he gave all of the very deep, intimate, esoteric aspects of bhakti. And Gurudev kept saying, I'm not giving anything new. It's the same wine in a new bottle. Same wine in a new bottle. What was the point of me saying that? I have to go back and see the... So what I find myself doing is I quote from Srila Prabhupada's books. And I show people. I don't say, look, this is proof that Srila Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja is saying right. I just quote from his books. Srila Prabhupada said, Radharani is the via medium by which one's love and affection is transmitted to Krishna. What does Krishna love more than anything? Radharani. So our mood is how to push Radharani to Krishna. Prabhupada is saying. And then later on, someone will hear the same concept from our Gurudev and go, wait a second. You mean Prabhupada said that? And he's saying the same thing. Oh, he's not telling anything new. Okay. Oh, wait a second. Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj said the same thing. And Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj and Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada and Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Rupa Goswami. Wait a second. They're all saying the same thing. Maybe the wording is different. Prabhupada is using the words unalloyed devotional service, and our Gurudev is using pure bhakti or one-pointed bhakti. It means the same thing, but the wording is different. So there's a speciality. The wording is different, but the same meaning is there. And so when you can present the teachings, the philosophy of Srila Prabhupada's books, from the conception of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, then there is, in essence, no doubt as to what our Gurudev is saying. That's one thing I realized at one point. I understood that the only reason anyone has any difficulty with what our Gurudev was saying is because they didn't read Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, because he was the walking, talking book. He was representing all of those teachings of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. So if you just share those conceptions, share them from Prabhupada's books. And then people won't think, oh my God, you're telling it from outside. It's there also. So many devotees are doing that. Our Srila Gurudev didn't want to take over. He was given the order by Prabhupada to help his disciples. So he said, I've come to re-inspire, to waterize. So he would go and embrace those who are, what's the word? Feeling lowly and fallen, feeling distant, and he would give them some water to awaken them again, to continue to serve as they served in the past, to re-inspire. This was his function. And in the process, so many people were ejected, and so they had nowhere to go, and therefore he was duty-bound to give them shelter, as a responsible person would do. And he did just that, but he wasn't trying to take anyone for himself. If someone came to him and begged for shelter, that's another thing. But for the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, he wasn't trying to take anyone. He just wanted to embrace them, to nourish them, to waterize them, to help that bhakti lata to grow. So share all of those beautiful things. You can read from all different sources and then find it there and say, okay, it's here. It's there in Nectar of Instruction, there in Nectar of Devotion. And there's also so many references to the books of the Goswāmis. Srila Prabhupada said any sincere student would do well to study the books of the Goswāmis. Specifically, Brihad Bhagavatamrita, which is the source of all of the other books of the Goswāmis. He's written this also. So share the good stuff from... It's all good, but share that. And then people will say, wait a second, it is the same. You're saying it's not the same, but when you look closely, oh, when I hear from Srila Gaura Govinda Maharaj, I hear my Gurudev. When I hear from Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj, I hear my Gurudev. When I hear from Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj, I hear my Gurudev. When I hear from Srila Prabhupada, I hear my Gurudev. When I hear from Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, I hear my Gurudev. So Srila Prabhupada said, you should listen for your Gurudev in everything. And I hear that it's just being confirmed again and again, more and more and more deeply and strongly. Guru Nishta should come more strongly by associating with Vaisnavas. That is the function of Vaisnavas. It's all good. So now we are going to continue with this. What will become of mankind? Nityananda Prabhu is petitioning the Lord. He thus advises Sri Krishna Chaitanya, please devise a purificatory method whereby they can easily attain your shelter. I perpetually worship Sri Nityananda Prabhu, the root of the Krishna Bhakti tree. O brothers, simply chant incessantly the names of Sri Hari, and let the responsibility of delivering you from the ocean of repeated birth and death rest upon me. You hear that? He's saying, just continuously chant the holy names of the Lord, and I will take the responsibility to deliver you from the repetition of birth and death. While traveling constantly, Nitai approached the door of every home, declaring this with outstretched arms. So I perpetually worship Sri Nityananda Prabhu, the root of the Krishna Bhakti tree. How astonishing! He is just like Agastya Muni, who once swallowed the entire ocean, forcibly swallowing the ocean of repeated birth and death. He is the rising moon that causes the ocean of saintly persons' good fortune to swell. He is the brilliant sun blazing before the multitude of rogues and dispelling the darkness of their ignorance. I perpetually worship Sri Nityananda Prabhu, the root of the Krishna Bhakti tree. Dancing, singing, and calling out the names of Sri Hari, he roams each and every path and inspires the passerby and his own people to sing and dance. He casts upon the saintly a glance from the corners of his merciful eyes. I perpetually worship Sri Nityananda Prabhu, the root of the Krishna Bhakti tree. He gently held the supremely soft lotus hand of his brother, their hearts soaring upward in the highest bliss as they gazed at each other's faces. Nitai was here before Mahaprabhu, before Sachinandan Gaura Hari. And he was searching for Krishna everywhere because he's Baladev Prabhu. So he came to Vrindavan. Nitai is also the disciple of Lakshmi Pati Tirtha, the guru of Madhavendra Puripad. But Lakshmi Pati Tirtha left this world when Nitai was quite young. So he took shelter of the senior disciple of Lakshmi Pati Tirtha, known as Madhavendra Puripad. And he was his Shiksha Guru, but because he was his everything and he learned everything from Madhavendra Puripad, he treated him as his main or primary guru. And we've seen this also with some who came to our Gurudev, like Krishna Kripa. He was quite young when he came to our Gurudev. He received Harinam from him, but most of the time he was just playing football. But later on, he received Diksha from Pujapad Bhaktivedānta Ban Maharaj. And although our Srila Gurudev Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Maharaj gave him Harinam, he learned everything from Pujapad Ban Maharaj and sees him as his primary guru. And so when I read this, it makes perfect sense. So it's not that he doesn't see Gurudev as his guru, but he's received everything from this source, all inspiration and nourishment and help and affection and everything. He's received it from his Diksha Guru. So Nityananda Prabhu saw Madhavendra Puripad as his everything, learned everything from him. And Madhavendra Puripad is the grand guru of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu's guru is Ishvara Puripad. Ishvara Puripad's guru is Madhavendra Puripad. So Nityananda Prabhu is in the position of being like the grand guru, because one should treat the guru's godbrothers as good as the guru himself, if the godbrothers are as good as the guru himself. Like our Srila Prabhupada told the devotees regarding his godbrother from Germany, Sadananda Swami, that you should treat him as good or equal to the way you treat me. He told the devotees this. So, right, so I was reading this part. They gazed at each other's faces. So Nityananda Prabhu was in Vrindavan, searching for Krishna everywhere. Kotai kanai, where is Krishna, where is Krishna? Sometimes hugging the cows, the calves, the cowherd-boys, means the local cowherd-boys. Crying and weeping and rolling on the ground, searching for Krishna. One day an aerial voice, a voice from the sky came. Your Krishna is not presently here. He has now taken birth in Navadvip Dham. So immediately Nitai set out for that direction. But Nitai did not want to just go directly. Nitai went to the home of Chandrasekhar Acharya. And there he was kind of hiding. He wanted to be found. He said, if he is really my Kanai, then he will know where I am. So he was waiting there. There, Sachinandan Gaurahari told all of his associates, one great devotee has arrived in Navadvip Dham. You should go and find him and bring him to me. So the devotees went everywhere, searching everywhere. Where is this great devotee? They could not find him, and they came back empty-handed. Then Sachinandan Gaurahari got up and said, come with me. So all the devotees came with him, and they went directly to the house of Chandrasekhar Acharya. And there, when Sachinandan Gaurahari entered, then Nitai and Gauranga saw each other for the first time. For a while they were just standing there motionless, looking at each other's eyes, just staring at each other. This is like they are one soul in two forms. So it's himself in this beautiful form, both amazing and beautiful. They were just looking at each other. Then they both began to roar loudly and weeping, laughing and crying, and they embraced each other, and then they both fell unconscious. After some time, it was a signal, oh, you should sing this verse. Parhapidam natabarapupu kannayo kannikaram. Beautiful verse describing the beauty of Krishna, found in Śrīmad Bhagavatam. From that, they woke up from their unconscious state and experiencing so many ashtasattvic bhavs in connection with each other. These two amazing mountainous personalities, so beautiful and so amazing, experiencing these amazing bhavs upon their first meeting. So here, where were you? I've been searching for you in the whole world, Nitai said to Nimai. Their hearts soaring upward in the highest bliss as they gazed at each other's faces. As he wandered here and there, he delighted the townspeople with his sweetness. I perpetually worship Śrī Nityananda Prabhu, the root of the Krishna Bhakti tree. May Śrī Nityananda Prabhu's two lotus feet brilliantly manifest in the hearts of those who recite this unprecedented and supremely potent Nityanandāṣṭakam. Again, may his two lotus feet brilliantly manifest in the hearts of those who recite this unprecedented and supremely potent Nityanandāṣṭakam, which is the reservoir of rasa, the treasure of exalted Rasika Vaisnavas, and the abode of the essence of bhakti rasa. It bestows liberation upon all fallen souls who simply remember it. Which is the reservoir of rasa, the treasure of exalted Rasik Vaishnavas, and the abode of the essence of bhakti rasa. So apparently by this, one can attain that, bhakti rasa also. So the proof of greed will be that one would also recite this regularly. So I don't have a rhythm for it. Maybe you can all just sing it with me. Sarachandra Brantim Spuraramalakantem Gajagatim Hari Premonmatam Drita Paramasatvam Smitamukham Sada Ghurnannetram Karakalita Vetram Kalibidham Bhaje Nityanandam Bhajanatarukanndam Niravadhi Rasanam Magaram Svajanagana Sarvasvamatulam Tadiyaika Prano Pratimavashuddha Janavapatim Sada Premonmadam Paramaviditam Mandamanasam Bhaje Nityanandam Bhajanatarukanndam Niravadhi Shachi Sunu Preshtham Nikhila Jagadishtam Sukhammayam Kalo Majjajjivo Dharana Karano Dama Karunam Hare Rakyanadva Bhavajaladigarbo Natiharam Bhaje Nityanandam Bhajanatarukanndam Niravadhi Aye Bhratar Nirnam Kalikalushinam Kim Nu Bhavita Tata Prayaschittam Rachaya Yadanaya Sata Ime Vrajanti Tvamitham Saha Bhagavata Mantrayatiyo Bhaje Nityanandam Bhajanatarukanndam Niravadhi Yateshtam Re Bhrata Kuru Hari Hari Dvanam Manisham Tato Vasangsaram Buddhitaranadayo Mayilaget Idam Bahu Spotae Atatiratayanya Pratigriham Bhaje Nityanandam Bhajanatarukanndam Niravadhi Balat Sangsarambho Nidhiharana Kumbodbhavamaho Satam Shreya Sindhu Nati Kumuda Bandhum Samuditam Khala Shreni Spurjat Timirahara Surya Prabhamaham Bhaje Nityanandam Bhajanatarukanndam Niravadhi Natantam Gayantam Harimanuvadantam Patipati Vrajantam Pashyantam Svamapi Nadayantam Janaganam Prakurvantam Santam Sakarunadrigantam Prakallana Bhaje Nityanandam Bhajanatarukanndam Niravadhi Subibranam Bratu Karasarasijam Komalataram Mito Vaktraloko Chalita Paramananda Hridayam Brahmantam Madhuryair Ahahamadayantam Purajanan Bhaje Nityanandam Bhajanatarukanndam Niravadhi Rasanam Madharam Rasikavarasadvaishnavadhanam Rasagaram Saram patitatatitāram smaranata param nityanandāṣṭakam apurvam patitiyas tarangri dvandvabjam spuratu nitaram tasya hridaye bhaje nityanandam bhajana tarukandam niravadhi bhaje nityanandam bhajana tarukandam niravadhi jaya nityananda ram jaya nityananda ram jai nityananda ram jai nityananda ram jaya nityananda ram jai nityananda ram nityananda ram jai nityananda ram nitai hai 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 पतित पावन श्री नित्यानंद प्रभु की जय। So now we will sing very quickly. Sakhe Kalaya Gauramudaram, because without calling out to Mahaprabhu, Nitai will not be satisfied. Then we will chant Hare Krishna and we will finish this evening to continue tomorrow. Page 340 by Śrī Radha Mohan Das, Sakhe Kalaya Gauramudaram. If you do not have the book, please go to Jiva Pavana Prabhu's most recent post and you will find the bhajan there. Sakhe Kalaya Gauramudaram, Sakhe Kalaya Gauramudaram, Nindita Hatako Kanti Kalevaro, Nindita Hatako Kanti Kalevaro, Garbitamaro Kumaram, Garbitamaro Kumaram, Sakhe Kalaya Gauramudaram, Sakhe Kalaya Gauramudaram, Madhukararanjita Malati Mandita, Madhukararanjita Malati Mandita, Jita Ghana Kunchita Kesham, Jita Ghano Kunchita Kesham, Tilaka Vinindita Shashadhara Rupaka, Tilaka Vinindita Shashadhara Rupaka, Bhuvanna Manohara Vesham, Bhuvanna Manohara Vesham, Sakhe Kalaya Gauramudaram, Sakhe Kalaya Gauramudaram, Madhu Madhura Smita Lobhita Tanu Bhetam, Madhu Madhura Smita Lobhita Tanu Bhetam, Anupama Bhava Vilasam, Anupama Bhava Vilasam, Nidhuvanna Nagari Mohita Manaso, Nidhuvanna Nagari Mohita Manaso, Vikatita Gada Gada Bhasham, Vikatita Gada Gada Bhasham, Sakhe Kalaya Gauramudaram, Sakhe Kalaya Gauramudaram, Param Paramaya Kinchana Kinchana Naragana Paramaya Kinchana Kinchana Naragana Karuna Vitarana Shilam Karuna Vitarana Shilam Shobhita Durmati Radha Mohana Shobhita Durmati Radha Mohana Namaka Nirupam Lilam Namaka Nirupam Lilam Sate Kalaya Goramudaram Sake Kalaya Goramudaram Nindita Hataka Kārtika Levara Nindita Hataka Kārtika Levara Garbita Marako Maram Garbita Marako Maram Sakhe Kalayo Goramudaram Sakhe Kalayo Goramudaram Shachinandan Jai Gaura Hari Shachinandan Jai Gaura Hari Shachinandan Jai Gaura Hari Shachinandan Jai Gaura Hari Gaura He 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 Prem Purushottam Shachinandana Gaura Hari Ki Jai. And now, 10 minutes. Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Oh Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Jai Gurudev 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 Oh Gurudev 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 Jai Prabhupada 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 Jai Prabhupada 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 Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol Śrīla Gurudev ki jai Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai Rupa की जय पतित पावन श्री नित्यानंद प्रभु की जय प्रेम पुरुषोत्तम सचिनंदन गौर हरि की जय राधा विनो बिहारी जू की जय राधा रमन जू की जय गिरिराज महाराज की जय हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय गौर भक्त वृंद की जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल गोविंद दामोदर माधवेति गोविंद दामोदर माधवेति गोविंद दामोदर माधवेति गोविंद दामोदर माधवेति बोलो राधे 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 जय 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 श्री राधे 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 जय 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 श्री राधे 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 जय 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 श्री राधे श्री Radhe Radhe ki jai, jai jai Śrī Radhe, jai jai Śrī Radhe, jai jai Śrī Radhe. Shyam Bhutmande Hari Hari. So thank you all very much for being with us today and giving us the opportunity to remember the beautiful teachings of our Gurudev and our Guru Varga, and especially to glorify and remember Śrīmad Prabhu on second day. Also, we're indebted to each and every one of you for giving us the opportunity to follow the order of our Gurudev, which is our life and soul. We look forward to being with all of you tomorrow. Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna, Radhe Radhe, Radha Vinobi Hare Ju, Sachinandana Gaur Hari Ki Jai.